This video is sponsored by MyHeritage. It's 6 a.m. Shin Dong-hyuk is forced to line up outside. In front of him, a woman who was caught trying to escape. He has seen this exact moment close to 100 times. Shin was born inside this prison, and his crime means he'll never leave. But today, he'll try. Nobody has ever done it successfully before. If he gets caught, it means death. This is inside North Korea's Camp 14, through the first-hand experience of Shin Dong-hyuk. "Get moving," says the guard. Shin obeys. He moves quickly with his head down, no hesitation. As long as he can remember, he's worked 16-hour days, 7 days of the week. Today, Shin's collecting firewood. In 20 years, he's only visited this station once before. The perfect place to escape. But the site is heavily guarded, and he only has a short time to plan. In the morning, Shin must identify the security weaknesses. Then, at midday, steal any items he needs for the escape. And in the evening, when nobody's looking, break free. Shin arrives at the firewood station. He starts hacking at a tree. Blending in is essential. If a guard sees him studying the area, it's suspicious. He will be beaten and tortured. But it's not just the guards that pose a threat. The prisoners' empty stomachs mean snitching for food happens daily. Shin pauses. In the corner of his eye, he sees the fence. He moves to a tree that's closer, 10 feet high. Everyone is told it's electric, though nobody dares to find out. But today, Shin will. He scans the fence, then he notices it, a flaw in the design. But the fence is only one obstacle. Below is a few meters of sand, placed to catch the footprints of anyone who gets close. And in front of that are the guards. It isn't the perfect spot to escape, but one detail here makes it slightly better than anywhere else. It's several miles away from the main prison, the most heavily guarded area where 15,000 captives are separated into different areas. Alongside the forced labor workshops, agricultural farms, coal mines, and textile factories watched under strict surveillance and control, serving the regime's economic and political interests. Escape in these areas would be impossible. Back on the ground, Shin is counting. There's a gap in the guard patrol every 10 minutes. Just enough time to run to the fence without the guards seeing. Shin keeps hacking, but the blunt axes make the work much harder. He has no freedom over the work he does, the food he eats, or the life he lives. But that's just how North Korea works. The founding leaders, Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il, are worshipped like gods. Their rules must be followed. Shin is in one of the 4 camps confirmed active, holding 100,000 prisoners in total. Some aim to re-educate prisoners. Release is possible. But Shin is not so lucky. This camp is the most brutal of them all. Its goal is to punish wrong thinkers by erasing their entire bloodline. He has 2 options: work to death or escape. Shin glances around to be sure no one noticed him tracking the last guard patrol. But someone has. One prisoner is looking directly at him. His name is Park. They first met while working in the camp's textile factory. Shin was ordered to teach Park how to fix the machines. Here, hundreds of women are forced to sew military uniforms. It was this moment where Park told him about the luxuries of the outside world. Cities with lights, meals with flavor, people who don't beat you within an inch of your life. Park's stories have given Shin a new hope, that there is a better life. Park staring back is not a problem, it's confirmation. They plan to escape together. He has one thing Shin doesn't: connections to the outside world. I know how we can get past the fence, but it needs to be in one very specific place, says Shin. How will we survive the cold? Responds Park. Shin smiles. I have an idea for that. Shin has no family to protect him here. Even if he did, finding them would be impossible. But that's where my heritage comes in. I had this old photo of some family members, but didn't know who they were. However, after my heritage started searching through its 36 billion historical records, I started getting some surprising answers. It began by just adding a couple of names and dates, then using their instant discoveries feature, I began finding new family members automatically until I had entire branches. But the real breakthrough came from the smart matches, which linked me to existing users who share the same ancestors and uncovered the distant relatives I never knew existed. Despite knowing almost nothing, I could easily trace my family back generations. It turns out the photo was taken in 1901, showing my great-great-grandfather Alfred and his wife Minnie. I could even colorize the image using their built-in tools. During his early life, he worked as a stockman on a farm in Herefordshire. He was later promoted to the farm manager before transitioning to owning his own hotel. They went on to have 2 kids, with the boy growing up to be a specialist in heating and plumbing. The discoveries I found were genuinely surprising, which is why my heritage is the #1 service for tracing your family history and is trusted by over 90 million users. If you want to discover more about your family origins, they are currently offering a 14-day free trial if you use our link in the description, or by scanning the barcode on the screen. Step 1. They have identified the weakness. Next, they must steal anything they might need. Then, in the cover of darkness, that is when the real escape begins. As Shin swings his axe, he hears a loud whistle. It's lunchtime. They start walking back to the main area of camp. Shin only has a short time to steal an item to protect them from the cold. This won't be easy. Suddenly, something sharp hits the back of his head. He feels a warm trickle down his neck and turns. One of the guard's children is laughing at him. Since childhood, Shin has been treated more like an animal than a human. So have the other prisoners. Their blood is cursed and pure. A rock is the least he deserves. Or so, that's what the country is brainwashed to believe. Shin enters the canteen hall. It smells like boiled radish and iron. With only 2 hours of electricity each day, the room is dark. Shin takes his place in line. The lack of food means his stomach is constantly in pain. Behind the serving window, a guard ladles slop into tin bowls. It's a watery stew. If you're lucky, a bit of corn or bone. Eating rats is common and often necessary to maintain strength through the winters. After getting his food, he walks to the back of the hall and takes a seat. If everything goes to plan, this is the last time he will ever need to eat here. Shin learned early on to chew slowly, tricking the body into thinking it has eaten more. But today, he needs to be fast. They both sit together, but don't speak. It's not safe. Shin and Park share the same punishment, but not the same reason for being here. Shin's future was sealed before he was born. Many years ago, his uncle escaped across the border to South Korea. For that single act of treason, every family member was thrown here. All Shin has ever known is misery, fear, and sadness. His mother and brother were both executed, and his father is detained in a different part of the camp. Shin stares down at his food. Park stands up and leaves, clearly nervous. The prisoners are only issued 1 pair of clothes. They are not warm enough at night for North Korea's winter temperatures. If they don't find more clothes, they won't survive long. But lunch ends soon. He doesn't have long. Shin walks to his barracks. He's about to take the biggest risk so far. The buildings are small, the floors are concrete. Up to 50 men sleep in here. Women are segregated in a different area. Everyone sleeps on the floor, without a blanket or pillow. You sleep in what you wear, or you freeze. If you need the toilet, you use the bucket. No paper or soap. Shin kneels by his mat. For days, he's been eyeing a particular prisoner. He works in the textile factory alongside Shin. Because of the man's role as a garment cutter, he's managed to craft himself an extra set of winter clothes. If any prisoners catch him stealing, he will be reported instantly. He must stay out of sight. These warm clothes are the difference between life and death for Shin. While nobody's looking, he slowly walks over to the man's bed and picks up the uniform. Shin dashes into a corner. He slips it under his work clothes. It's slightly too big. Suddenly, a sharp voice echoes through the room. "Inspection!" Shin freezes. Checks are usually random, but maybe they've noticed something. They call them searches, but everyone knows they're about fear. "Line up, hands on heads, now!" Everyone scrambles into position. Shin's hands go up. To the guards, every prisoner is hiding something. The lead guard paces. He points at an elderly prisoner near the door. "You, step forward." The old man obeys. The guard shoves a hand into his clothes, pulls out a cloth-wrapped lump, a scrap of food. "It's for my grandson. Please." The guard strikes him before he finishes. A loud crack. The man falls. Another guard steps forward with a metal rod. 10 strikes, then 15. It keeps going. The others stand frozen, heads bowed. No one makes a noise. Shin keeps his eyes on the floor. If they pick him next and see his second uniform, it's over. The guard turns again and points. "You, step forward." Shin's heart jumps. The guard starts searching. First the shoulders, then the arms. Shin's body tenses as the hands slide lower. Then continues to pat down his legs and stops. The guard circles around and looks him dead in the eyes. A long pause. Then, clear. Shin steps back in line. The inspection moves on. Meanwhile, the old man hasn't gotten up. Shin doesn't look long. He knows better. After the guards leave, the escape is still on. But that's only if nobody saw him take the uniform. He can't be sure. Step 2 has been cleared. Only just. The silence in the barracks stays for a moment. Relief, like maybe things are lining up for him. But the feeling doesn't last. In the yard, whispered voices and barked commands. Then across the camp, a bell rings. Afternoon work detail. If everything goes to plan, he will never need to sleep on this concrete floor again. Shin walks to make his way to his afternoon task. On their way to the firewood station, he sees Park. So far, everything's gone as intended, which is exactly what worries him. Smooth plans have a way of falling apart when it matters most. They walk past the execution site, a reminder of what happens when an escape goes wrong. Shin thinks about Park, the man who in his eyes had it all. He was the chief of a Taekwondo training center in Pyongyang, but everything changed after he lost this job. Unemployed, he traveled up north with his wife and illegally crossed the border into China, thinking North Korea would not notice. After a year, Park decided to return for an election back in the capital, fearing that if he didn't vote, it would be clear he fled the country. While arriving at the border, North Korean authorities detained Park and his family. He claimed he was just visiting relatives in China and returning to vote, but he left unofficially, so they didn't believe him. Accused of spying and converting to Christianity, Park, along with his wife and baby son, were sentenced to life inside Camp 14. He hasn't seen either of them since. Ahead, half buried on the side of a hill, sits a small concrete structure. No windows. Most prisoners look away. Guards never mention it. The underground prison. This is where Shin was tortured and kept for months. Every prisoner's nightmare. It has bare concrete walls, no windows or ventilation. The light is dim, with various objects placed around the room for torture. He picks up his pace. Here, the snow is thicker. The mountain looms above. The trees are bare. The foreman shouts orders. He is a prisoner too, unarmed, assigned to keep the others working. But he will be quick to catch any suspicious movement. He will be severely punished for an escape on his watch. A few men are already at work, swinging axes into the frozen branches and stacking the firewood. Shin and Park join them. They don't speak. They can't. But they're observing. When the light starts to fade, they will make a move to reduce the chance of detection. It's already cold, and with each hour, it only grows worse. Shin hacks at the branch in front of him. Park is a few paces away, stacking wood with another prisoner. He glances at Shin just once, then back to work. To anyone watching, they look the same as the rest. Cold, tired, obedient. But underneath, the tension is mounting. A pair of guards walk along the inner perimeter of the fence and then disappear. Shin slows down just a bit. He must conserve his energy. They have a long night ahead. They don't have a signal, no set time, only a feeling. And it's coming. After a few more hours, the light is almost gone. Shin glances around for guards. Nothing. The last patrol has just passed. They have 10 minutes to make an escape. If they are too slow, they will be shot. They gradually move to the trees nearest the fence, both unaware of what's about to happen. Park crouches beside a log, his breath shallow.
I don't know if I can do this,
he whispers.
Can't we wait?
Shin doesn't answer right away. He looks toward the fence, then back at the camp.
There won't be another chance,
he says.
It's now.
Park freezes, unable to move. Shin reaches down and grabs his arm.
Run!
They move fast. Each step takes them closer to the fence. As they near, Shin's foot hits a patch of ice. He slips and falls hard to his knees. Before he can get up, Park passes him. Shin knows the layout of the camp. They both agreed he should be the one leading. Park could now put them both into danger and jeopardize their entire escape. But it's too late. Park is committed, and nothing will stop him now. Shin watches as he starts to slide through the fence. He glances around, checking if anyone has seen. Nothing yet. But then, a sharp spark. Park jerks violently. Shin rushes closer. He calls Park, but there's no response. Shin pauses for a second. Park's weight on the wire has enlarged the gap. Shin looks back. The prisoners are staring. There is no turning back now. He presses himself flat, using Park's body as a shield. He doesn't look at Park's face. It's too painful. Then, his leg slips and makes contact with the live wire. Pain tears through his body, although his momentum carries him through. He has made it outside the camp. Shin has no time to celebrate. When the guards see Park's body, they will begin searching immediately, and the dogs will be on his trail. Shin tumbles down the hill through knee-deep snow. He drops to the ground behind a tree. The fabric is covered with blood. The human body is unpredictable when conducting electricity. In this case, Shin got extremely lucky. He has a third-degree burn to his leg, and the only person who ever spoke to him like he mattered is gone. Shin keeps moving downhill, gaining distance from the prison. He hides behind a tree, checks for lights, listens for dogs. Nothing. Yet. Shin keeps running. The first guards to the scene look at Park's body. Then, in the sand, 2 sets of footprints. They know. Inside the camp, an alert is raised. A commanding officer knocks on the guard barracks.
"The prisoner has escaped,"
he shouts. Guards are sweeping the ridge, looking for a trail to start following. Shin only has a couple minutes advantage on the guards, and it's slipping away. After gaining more distance from the prison, Shin finds a farmer's shed half buried in the snow. He limps to the door and tries to open it. It's locked. Shin spots a broken axe. One swing and the lock gives way. Inside is hay, wood, a thick tarp. He needs at least something. And there, sitting near a stack of tools, he sees an old military uniform. Too big, but warm. He can't stay long. Every minute he stays still, the closer the guards become. But his body is exhausted and shutting down from the pain. He rests his eyes for a brief moment. Without knowing, Shin passes out. After around 3 weeks of hitching rides on illegal trucks and freight trains, Shin managed to make his way to the Chinese border. Eating food he has never seen, hearing music he'd never known. The country was still suffering from a famine. An old man that Shin met advised him to bribe the border guards, so that's exactly what he did. With no identification papers, the odds were against him. Wearing a military uniform he found in a farmer's shed, he posed as a soldier on leave to visit family in China. He handed over the cigarettes and food and was waved through. But his escape was not over. If he got caught in China, he would be classed as an illegal economic migrant and sent back. After a year of dodging Chinese authorities, he met a journalist who took him to the South Korean embassy. Shin was eventually granted safe passage to South Korea, where he lives now. After the book Escape from Camp 14 was released detailing his harrowing journey, Shin became one of the world's most prominent voices, exposing the horrors of North Korea's political prison camps. Today, he has stepped back from the public spotlight, but his story still stands. The only person to ever safely escape Camp 14. Thanks to MyHeritage for sponsoring this video. Use our link below or scan the QR code on the screen to get a 14-day free trial and uncover your family history.